David Stark from Watcher Pass, and I have my ugliest and favorite tropical shirt on because I'm going to take you on a trip to Resort to Love, which is streaming on Netflix on July 29, 2021. So it's streaming on Netflix now, I think. By the time this review goes up, I'm pretty sure it's either out or it's coming out very, very soon. So you can check it out on Netflix. It's a typical breakup romantic comedy film, but it has an all-black cast and it's produced by Alicia Keys. So you've got some great music and some really fun characters as well. So this is probably a good time for me to tell you that I am going to be getting into spoilers in this film. I'm going to talk about the story elements. I'm going to talk about some things I liked, and then I'm going to talk about the ending. So if you don't want to be spoiled about Resort to Love, go check out the review on watcherpass.com. That's where I post my written reviews. They're much more vague. They don't have, spoilers. It's kind of more general. So you can read that and see if it's something you'd like to watch. Or if you don't care about spoilers, let's take a trip to the resort. So in Resort to Love, you have Erica, who is a aspiring musician. And so she is getting her big break that she's been working so hard for, and that falls through the cracks. She kind of hits rock bottom. And on top of that, she's dealing with a breakup that she had with Jason about a year ago. She's still kind of getting over that. And so essentially just to kind of get out of her rut and change her perspective, her friend gets her a job at this tropical resort, and she's a singer there. And part of her singing duties are wedding songs. Not great for her because she's still getting over her not wedding, but it lets her change her perspective, get out of New York and live in this tropical paradise, which she starts to get comfortable. She starts to get better. And then what happens? Well, her ex-fiancé and his new fiancé show up at the resort ready to get married. And who would the wedding singer be but Erica? So the film has a lot of kind of juggling where her new fiancé, whose name is Jason, doesn't tell his fiancée, Beverly, about his history with Erica. And there's a lot of juggling with that because Beverly is a wonderful lady and she really wants to get Jason's friends involved. So she invites Erica to everything, not knowing that there's this history. And so there's a little bit of awkwardness there. And then you also have Erica and Jason kind of working through their feelings. And then you also have, surprise, surprise, the interest of another man who happens to also be Jason's brother. So Erica's fighting with some feelings, Jason's fighting with some feelings. It's kind of what you'd expect in a romantic breakup, love triangle kind of movie. But there's a lot to like about it. And so, the first thing I liked is the resort. It's a beautiful, beautiful resort. Like it's in some tropical island with these amazing views, this beautiful water. For a lot of people that maybe haven't gone many places in the last year and a half, it's a nice little reminder that we used to be able to travel to places, and maybe we'll be able to travel places soon. And so the resort itself is a lot of fun, and there's some fun humor about it too. There's some fun resort statements, like when they say that, oh, she's an employee so she can't do certain things, or they talk about like how she has to make the guests happy. Like that kind of stuff is pretty funny. So that goes right into the second thing, the comedy. There's a lot of really funny aspects about this film. Like it's a romantic comedy, so there will be humor, but there's some really clever moments and some really funny laugh out loud moments between all the cast, especially when they get into kind of some of the times when they're trying to avoid each other, or at least avoid topics. Like there's some kind of knowing statements that are made and some things like that that'll give you a chuckle. Like this film will make you smile. The third thing I liked is the cast. You've got some really fun performances. Everyone's kind of out there, but I liked that the cast, everyone was very motivated, right? Like you've got it's kind of your typical romantic comedy, but I really like that Beverly's character had this very civic-minded nature. She was ambitious. She had these dreams, and she wasn't just kind of like either this terrible person that you're like, oh, Jason, you should be marrying her, and she wasn't, like essentially Erica. Like she wasn't the same as Erica, which you sometimes see. Like she was her own person with a different set of dreams, and also a very motivated person. And Erica also, like she was pursuing her dreams. She was also very highly motivated. She had desires. She wanted to become a singer, and she was really pursuing. Like that's part of why she and Jason broke up. So I liked seeing these highly motivated characters that all were fun to watch as well. The fourth thing is the music. This film is produced by Alicia Keys, and so you've got some really good music, but the kind of twist here is that it's mostly sung by the characters. So Erica sings a few songs because she's a wedding singer, so she sings a lot of songs. Alicia Keys, unsurprisingly, is prominently featured, but they tie it in well, so it's fine. But Beverly also sings a song. I think there's a couple other people that sing songs in like a karaoke style, so you get these twists on songs that you know. And when Beverly does her song, I really laughed at that. Like, it was a really well done performance, and it was a funny performance that was enjoyable to watch. So, things I didn't like. The film is, it's your typical breakup movie. It kind of doesn't do much different. There's a little bit more of a social media vibe to it, but maybe that's just because that's how movies are and I'm old. But the film has a very typical start, and then after that it goes into kind of like your standard relationship juggling, type of film. Like, it is a very predictable movie. It doesn't try to do too much, but it does a lot right. So, and the third thing I didn't love are the bad decisions. Like, there are some really bad decisions. Like, in one scene, especially when Erica meets Caleb, who's the brother, for the first time. She doesn't know he's Jason's brother. She just knows that she went out into the ocean trying to help someone. They both almost drowned, and then Caleb saved her. And Caleb is he's almost too good to be true. He's an ex special forces military person who's also insanely sensitive and in touch with his feelings, and also he has like the body of a Greek statue. And so he's sitting there shirtless, because of course he's shirtless. If I had a body like that, I would never wear a shirt either. And he's just saved Erica's life, and he's like, look, I need to get something to eat. Do you want to come with me? In a very nice way. And she's like, oh no, I've got to work. When she doesn't have to work. She says later that she doesn't have to work. I'm like, no. Like, you are getting over someone. Go have a nice lunch with this perfect person that just saved your life. So things like that just didn't really make much sense. And then other bad decisions, like Jason goes on the ropes course when he's afraid of heights. I guess he was trying to impress his fiance, but you shouldn't do that. And then some more bad decisions that happened at the end of the film, which I'm going to get into now. So in the end, eventually, as you would expect in a romantic comedy about, trying to hide a past fiance and also trying to figure out your feelings, Erica and Jason go back and forth about like what they want. It's a little unclear, what they want, if they want to get back together. If they don't, they kind of go back and forth. And also Erica develops feelings for Caleb, as you expect, because he's essentially perfect. And so they go back and forth, and eventually they come to the realization that Erica, loves Jason, but doesn't think they would be good married. Like, she loves him because of their feelings that they had for each other, but she doesn't think that they would end up well together. And Jason comes to the same conclusion. Jason loves Beverly. He wants to marry Beverly. Erica doesn't want to marry Jason. Everything's all good, right? Yay, they came to they worked everything out. Everything's to be happy. Oh, and when they're coming to this realization, one of the things that just didn't make any sense is they're coming to this realization, and Erica says, I'm glad you called off the wedding, because if you hadn't called it off, I would have. And I'm like, wait, no, that's not how this would work. Like, she was devastated at the start of the film. Like, she was crying at any sort of romantic music, romantic song. Like, if they played her song, she would like break down in tears. Like, that just felt like completely ridiculous, because she clearly wouldn't have called off the wedding. She was clearly upset. And if she would have called off the wedding, she knew that she came to that realization, she wouldn't have been so broken up for a year that she was essentially traumatized. But whatever, it makes for a nice movie line. So her and Jason are working out their feelings on the beach, in the public, in full view of everyone. And Beverly, Jason's fiance, sees them. And she's like, oh, they're out there. They look like they're, I didn't realize that they were that close. Like, not, I think she's a little suspicious, but not like in a super suspicious way. And then Jason's mom's there with Beverly, and she says, oh, that's Erica. Like, what she's doing here. And then she reveals that they used to be engaged not that long ago. And so Beverly then freaks out. and she essentially calls off the wedding. She like storms out, jumps in a van, tries to drive away, and randomly, Erica, when she finds out about this, wants to go talk to Beverly to explain the situation, and randomly Erica ends up in the van. Very, very convenient, very predictable. It is what it is. And they start talking. You know, they fight as you would expect, but they eventually hash it out. And so it's kind of your typical happy ending. She convinces Beverly to come back because it's the day of their wedding and she wants to marry Jason. Jason wants to marry her. So she convinces Beverly to come back. They go and get, you know, they go to the wedding, and fast forward to the wedding. And then Erica sings the song, her and Jason's song. Now there's a little bit of backstory. When Beverly and Jason were trying to decide what song they want to sing, Beverly suggested their song, which was, it was a song by Alicia Keys. I think it was no one, maybe it might have been No One. And Jason's like, no, we should get married to, like, I think Diamonds by Beyonce. It was some other song, and like, like, oh, okay, that's fine. But at the wedding, Erica sings her and Jason's song, which felt a little odd because, like, why would she sing their song when Beverly and Jason had already decided on a different song? A little weird. That's okay. But then partway through the song, she says, you know, hold up, keep going, and then like puts the mic down, walks off the stage in the middle of the song that she's singing to them, which presumably is their like wedding song or their first dance song, and she kisses Caleb, which, again, like, that's a good ending for a romantic film, but it's not, because it's at her former fiance's wedding, and now she is basically kind of like becoming the center of attention. That's kind of like when people get engaged at someone else's wedding. You're like, you don't want to do that. You don't want to kiss the groom's brother in the middle of everyone. You know, they can be friendly and dance, and then not have this big, they can have a big scene later in the night, maybe after people have had some more drinks and no one's gonna remember anything. But don't do it in the middle, like right smack in the middle of the first dance or the main song. Again, bad decisions, but they make for a better romantic comedy. So that was Resort to Love. Look, it's not a great film, but it's enjoyable. It takes you on a little adventure. You get to go see this resort and see and meet these fun characters, and it'll cause you to laugh and enjoy yourself. So that's Resort to Love, streaming on Netflix, July 29th, 2021. If you're into some, you know, if you want to see a romantic comedy, if you want to see something a little fun, if you want to have a little adventure, it's a good film to watch. So thanks so much for watching. If you like this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot and makes sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.